Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Juliet, and in today's video, I am going to be talking all things finances when it came to my first home purchase with my fiance. So, just a little bit of background, my fiance and I, we closed on a home very recently on March 17th, 2023. We started the process on January 29th, and I believe our first offer was accepted on February 10th, and we finally closed on March 17th. It was definitely a very stressful process. It was very emotionally and physically draining. It also caused really bad sleep problems for me. So, this definitely was not like a very happy, well, it was happy at the end, but it was definitely not as it's not as romantic as you would think buying a home. It's very stressful, but I'm very happy that we finally were able to close on a home. We have, something that we can put our money into instead of rent. Not saying that renting is bad. Renting is a really good thing, especially if you need to rent, you need that flexibility in your life. But where my fiance and I personally are in our lives, we are really not expecting to move anytime soon. And we really wanted our money to do something more than just pay rent. So, anyways, we are going to go through this whole entire spreadsheet that I've created that has different line items of, what we had to put in to purchase this home before and after closing. So, we're going to go through and let's talk about it. Okay, so the first thing we got to talk about is earnest money. So, earnest money is a good faith deposit. So, when you put in an offer, you typically have to write in the amount of earnest money you're going to put on the table if your offer is accepted. And you're basically saying that, hey, if I fail to close on this home, then you get this earnest money. However, if you close on the home, everything's great, then the earnest money you put forth goes towards your closing costs, which can definitely be a win win and make closing costs feel a lot less painful because, to be honest, being fully transparent, I know this sounds pretty stupid and naive of me, but when it came to home buying, I had no idea that earnest money or closing costs existed. I literally thought all you needed was a down payment, but I was completely wrong. There are definitely a lot more financial aspects of home buying that go into it. It's definitely a pretty big process financially. So, anyways, if you didn't know about earnest money, you know now about it. And that was earnest money. We put $3,500 down, and luckily, we did get the home. So, we didn't lose out on this money. The next thing is the inspection. So, we were very fortunate in this housing market to be able to have an inspection contingency, and we paid $625 for the inspection. Now, we had add-ons. We did a radon test and a termite inspection as well. So I believe the base price was like $500, but we chose to do radon and termite just for peace of mind because you never know. I didn't want to go into a home that would have termites or potentially had high levels of radon and we would get sick or even worse. The next thing was appraisal. So the appraisal is something that your mortgage company or bank will order for you and then you just pay the bill. But ours was $500, and that is essentially somebody who's coming out, looking at the home, seeing how much it is worth. And next thing we had was down payment. So my fiance and I, we were able to get a conventional loan and put 3% down. So we put $10,140 down, and that is what we felt comfortable with. I know that some people really suggest that you put down 20% or some higher percentage down, and I know that it can look more attractive to the seller if you have a higher down payment, but we felt comfortable at a 3% down payment, and it worked out for us financially. And we wanted to make sure that we also had enough money after closing so we could make repairs or do maintenance on the home. So that's why we decided to only go with a 3% down payment. Next is closing costs. So, your closing costs, or at least our closing costs, were actually a combination of the down payment and the additional closing costs that would be, just additional fees that you had to get, like your attorney's fee, title search fee. Our cash to close essentially was, if you just add these two together, our cash to close was $11,456.91. And that is what we had to wire 24 hours before we closed on the home. Now, I do have a note here on the closing costs that we actually got $5,000 in seller's credits and $500 in realtor credits, which greatly reduced our closing costs. Uh, Sometimes, I don't know what it's like in other housing markets, but for us, we were able to get additional money from the seller and our realtor towards our closing costs, which allowed us to walk away from the closing table with more money in our pocket to use on repairs and maintenance. And that is because when we got our inspection back, there was a lot of things that needed to be maintenance. So this is not a fixer upper home, it's just a home that needs some maintenance. It just needs, one thing we had to do, which I'll talk about, but we needed to put in wax rings around the toilet. That was something that either the previous owner, they let them wear down, or they just never got them installed themselves. And so we had to put that in. That's why our closing costs are pretty low. It's due to the seller's credits and the realtor credits. Next is wire transfer fees. So for the earnest money and the down payment, or more like the closing costs, we had to wire the money. Wiring money, unfortunately, costs a fee. For Discover Bank, it was $30 per wire for a total of $60 in wire transfer fees. And I know wiring sounds scary. It definitely was very scary for me to wire the money, but unfortunately, we had no other choice. The attorney would not allow any check or cashier's check or anything like that. So we had the wire. Next is so at closing, we had to pay an additional HOA fee at the very last minute. For some reason, our HOA wanted an additional $95.83 for the May HOA fee. Whatever, but we paid that at closing. That actually, I was able to write a check for that. I just handed it to my attorney and she dealt with it. But that was an additional cost that was, I guess, part of closing, but not. Yeah. Next is water setup fee. So when we knew that we were going to close on this home, and we, had our offer accepted and we got the clear to close, I wanted to go ahead and set up utilities. The only utility that had a setup fee was our water. It was a $37.50 setup fee for us. And then Home Depot. Okay, so I think there's 2 Home Depots here. So let's just talk about these. Yeah, these 2. Okay. So like everyone does after they close on a home, they run to Home Depot. For us, we went to Home Depot for some things that we needed initially for the home. For example, gutter guards, which are these guards that go under your gutters so that rain flows away from the home. We also picked up more air filters, cleaning supplies, probably some other things I just don't really recall at this point, but we made a pretty big Home Depot trip. And on top of that, we got our washer dryer because this home, it came with all the appliances except for a washer dryer. So we had to purchase that ourselves. And that was $1,400.21 for a Maytag washer dryer set. Next, we also paid to get our home rekeyed. So that's just changing out the locks so that the previous owners or whoever has the key can't get back in, so that my fiance and I are the only ones who can get into the home. So for us, that was $183.73. And I believe that was for 3 ReKeyings. Next is toilet wax rings. So we had to put in wax rings around all three of our toilets. And I had no idea how expensive this would be, but it was $1,053 to get that professionally done. And they should last for 10 years, which is great. But man, very expensive. And that's with like a multi toilet discount. So, yeah. Next is a move in clean. So, the sellers, they we asked them to do a professional cleaning when we put in an offer on the home. They rejected that. They said we would clean the home ourselves, and that is totally fine. They actually did do a good job at it, but I just wanted to get that additional deep clean. So I did get a move-in clean done professionally, and that was $341. And they come in, they scrub all the baseboards, all the appliances, they vacuum and so forth, and that just gave me a peace of mind. Next thing was getting bedroom furniture. So my fiance and I, we definitely do have furniture from our apartment, thankfully, but we wanted to get a bigger bed because we currently have a full size bed and it is very small, tiny, and we just wanted to upgrade to a king size bed. Was this the right time to do it? We could have waited. Did we wait? No, we purchased it, and that was $2,693 for the king size mattress, platform bed, the new like sheets and comforter, and two nightstands. And yeah, we did that. Next was dryer vent cleaning. So before we got our washer dryer installed, ooh, so we decided before we got our washer dryer installed by Home Depot, we wanted to get the dryer vent cleaned, and that was $215. It was supposed to only be $195, but the person who came, they had to put a little like bird cage on our vent on the outside because there was a beehive that had formed. It's very gross to think about, but anyways, to get that little bird cage installed, that put an extra what, like $25, I believe, onto the dryer vent cleaning, but that's fine. That gives me a peace of mind. Ugh, that just sounds gross to me. Then the next thing we had are just like purchases for the home from Amazon and Target. So, getting curtains, curtain rods, getting new garage door openers. We had to get special strainers for our sink because our sink doesn't have a garbage disposal. So, just like these little things that we needed, they all add up. And at Amazon, so far, we have purchased $276.82 worth of items, and from Target, $146.19. So, in total, my fiance and I have spent $22,759.77. A majority of that is from before closing. That is 71 or 72% of all the costs so far, with the down payment being the biggest chunkaroo in this whole home purchase process. That's like 45% of this whole entire home purchasing process. In full transparency, I do want to discuss the loan amount and so forth, and how this all kind of ends up working out in terms of what the mortgage payment is, PMI, and so forth. So, anyways, let's go ahead. I will reveal the loan breakdown. We purchased the home at a sales price of $335,000, and our loan amount, which is after our down payment, ended up being $324,860 with an interest rate of 6.375%. And yes, during this home purchase process, the interest rates definitely went up, but we were able to lock in at 6.375%. And that was buying down like half a point. But yeah, this is not like the prettiest interest rate in the world, but it's okay. I am trying not to beat myself up that some people in this world have like 2% interest rates. It's just we didn't buy a home during that time. And we would not have been financially prepared to purchase a home at that time, but we are now. And this is our interest rate, and it's fine. It is what it is. So our monthly principal and interest ends up being $2,026.70. Now, we do have escrow. So, in escrow, we have to put in our private mortgage insurance of $148.89. We also have to pay our property tax and owner's insurance into escrow. So, that ends up being $324.02. And then HOA, that is a totally separate cost that my fiance and I have to pay separately, but that ends up being $148 for our community, which does pay for trash and front yard maintenance as well as community maintenance. But yeah, that is basically it. That is our home buying process. And I guess finally, one last thing I do want to talk about. I don't know if you particularly noticed or care, but I just want to be fully transparent with y'all that when I was doing my budget with me videos and going through like spending reports and so forth, and it looked like everything was being taken out of my account and my fiance wasn't paying for anything, then and it looked kind of skewed and weird, and it's like, what are you doing to your budget, Juliet? So that's what I'm trying to explain here. I don't have to justify it. I know I don't have to justify it, but I just want to be transparent with y'all. What ended up happening is my fiance and we just decided it was the most straightforward path to paying for all the costs before closing was through my Discover high yield savings, because I already had all the money in there. And my fiance, he had money in stocks and cash, and we really didn't want to transfer that out and cause some issue with our mortgage company, just questioning where the money came from and so forth. So we just decided it's easiest to just take it from my bank account, which obviously influenced my budget when I was doing my wide nap budget with me's and my spending reports. But now that my fiance and I are combining finances, he is giving me his money from his stocks, his cash. That is that. That is our home purchasing process from start to finish. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.